Double Dutch, never swag. Double Dutch, never swag. Okay. I have got a guitar case full of mad change and clothes. This bar chase getting mad strange and old. Don't save your soul, cause no one's really caring if you don't thank and fold.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my new video. This is going to be an Overwatch review video. Now, I've been planning this for a couple of weeks now, just getting all the footage and all the audio and all the information that I need for you guys to make this the great video that I hope it's going to be. Now, this video we're going to be talking about just general thoughts that I have on the game, things that I think that could be done better, things that I really enjoy. We're going to be talking about some of my favorite heroes, some of my least favorite heroes, and we're going to be talking about competitive mode, what's wrong with it, what needs to be done better, what works for it, what I think they could do, and lastly, we're going to be talking about the new hero, Ana, which is a healing sniper. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but just stick around and listen. Alright, so first up, my general thoughts on the game. Now, Overwatch is really similar to a particular game that's been out for quite a bit of time now. Of course, I'm talking about Team Fortress 2. But interestingly enough, Blizzard does a really good job in making the game feel unique and original and exciting. Now, I'm not sure exactly how they do it. I mean, I've been thinking about this for a while. You know, how is it that this game, which in practice, on paper and in practice seems so simple, how can this game, you know, it feels like instantly, you know, we've known about Overwatch for a while, but almost instantly the game came out and it's just been a huge hit. And what's really surprised me is how many of the fans of Overwatch actually had never played a Blizzard game before in their lives. I mean, I would venture to say that probably a grand majority of the people who I've met on Overwatch have actually never played a Blizzard game, and if they did, it was like World of Warcraft a really long time ago, or perhaps like StarCraft or Diablo a really long time ago. But for the most part, it's been a lot of people that are new to the Blizzard world, and they didn't know how good of a company Blizzard actually is and how much time and effort and just blood, sweat, and tears they pour into their games. And I think that's really what's captivated a lot of people, and Blizzard actually did a really great job with this one. And what I mean about great job is it's not just the game itself, it's really the way that each hero feels absolutely 100% unique, as far as gameplay and just the way that everything flows. It really feels fresh, and it feels like an opportunity to really just tackle one hero at a time. But let's say you're having a hard time with one, you can switch over and instantly the game becomes like a brand new game that you never knew existed. And that feeling, you know, even to this day, you know, I have over 100 hours in the game, and you know, I pick up heroes that I rarely play, and I'm telling you, I have a great time learning the hero. And I feel like what makes this game so special is how it's really easy to learn and have fun with, but it's also, on the other side, it's very difficult to master this game, which gives you kind of like a really wide gap. And a lot of people, especially me, really enjoy this gap because it gives us something to look forward to in the future. Let's say, you know, we climb up the competitive ladder or whatever the case may be. It gives us something to look forward to and say, well, you know, I was able to pick up this game really easily, but maybe someday I'm going to grow and I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to be really good at this game, and who knows, you know, maybe I'll play in competitive tourneys or something. Not that I'm not saying I'm going to start playing in competitive tourneys and stuff, but I'm just saying it gives a gamer something to like aspire towards. There's a lot of games out there that, you know, it's maybe not as easy to pick up, or maybe it's even easier to pick up, but you know, it doesn't matter how good you are at the game, there's always certain limitations. I don't feel like that at all about Overwatch. I feel like Overwatch is something that you can really take your time and just dissect and learn every single hero, every single map, and just learn about the game and really use that to your advantage. I've never felt like that about, you know, I mean, I guess the only other game I ever felt like that about was WoW, and then WoW actually hit a point for me where it was like, okay, unless I have a really great team, I'm going to need to be really awesome at this certain class. And every time I would try to take on that certain class, they would just get nerfed or something would get changed. And it was like, okay, now I just have to relearn the entire class again. So, that's another story for another video, because I'm going to do a WoW video eventually. But that's just the way I feel. All right, next up, we have our favorite heroes. So basically, my first hero is Reaper. Now I'm going to explain Reaper a little bit. So Reaper to me feels very balanced. To me, he's probably one of the most balanced characters in the game. He has the ability to escape tight situations with Wraith form, but it doesn't feel like an absolute like panic button in the sense that, okay, I'm going to press this every time I'm in trouble and I'm 100% going to always get away. There are some situations where you can Wraith form, you run faster, but you're also not really able to attack or anything else. So you can really get caught in a bad situation if you Wraith form and you walk the wrong way. Secondly, he's really good with up close damage, not so good with long range as he has shotguns. And as everyone knows who's ever played a shooter, shotguns tend to spread at long range. So even though you might get a hit at long range, it's going to do very minuscule damage. And lastly, I really like him because he's able to counter most tanks in the game, such as Roadhog and Winston. They're big targets. If you're close enough, all of your pellets will enter them, meaning you're going to do full damage on each shot, and it should only take about like 4 rounds to kill one of these tanks, which I really enjoy because a lot of teams, especially in competitive, they have this knack for switching over to tanks when they're not doing as well as they should. And if you go Reaper, you can be sure you're gonna kill at least 1 or 2 of those tanks by yourself. One thing I dislike about Reaper is I feel like every time I play him, he can also be countered as far as his ult, in the sense that when you're doing your Death Blossom, you can be hooked by Roadhog, you can be tackled by Reinhardt. Any like movement or any ability that will stun you normally is going to be able to stun you and take you out of the game while you're doing your ult. And I really feel like that Reaper ult is crucial to his success as far as a hero goes. So sometimes when you're trying to play him, you might notice that you're kind of scared to use your ult in certain situations because you're afraid that you might get stunned out of it. Like let's say there's a Reinhardt and a Roadhog, but there's also a Mercy and a Lucio. Like you might want to reconsider using that ult until they're distracted by somebody else on your team. So that's definitely a good route to go, is just making sure that you use your ult as much as possible, but not wasting it and just jumping in all willy-nilly and using it and getting hooked or something like that. All right, next up we have Genji. Now, Genji for me is kind of like a love-hate situation. I really like Genji because he has amazing mobility. In practice, I would love to get more experience with Genji. I've been trying to play a lot of quick play instead of competitive because I don't want to tank rating, but I really enjoy the hero in the sense. It's just a lot of times I can have some trouble really angling and aiming with Genji for whatever reason. I feel like his shurikens travel a little bit slow for my taste. But I really like the way he can annoy and disrupt enemy teams. He has double jump. Like I said before, he has amazing mobility. One thing I do dislike is the damage dealt on him is really strictly based on his ult. You're not going to do a whole lot of damage just throwing your shurikens. You're going to have to use that ult consistently. Pick your spots because you use that ult in the wrong sense or in the wrong place, and you're going to get disrupted and or killed. Alright, next up we got D.Va. I really enjoy what they've done with D.Va lately. She wasn't one of my favorites beforehand, but ever since they changed Defense Matrix, they took it off cooldown, and her ult actually now it erupts actually a second sooner than it did before, which I felt like was crucial because, even now with 3 seconds, I feel like it's very dodgeable, but with 4 seconds, it was like, okay, if you get hit by this, you either disconnected or you were stuck in a trap or something like that. So basically, D.Va, if played right, the survivability can be one of the highest of any tank. You have to make sure that once your mecha gets killed, that you kind of pace back towards your team if possible. You want to get as many of those bullets into your enemy team, because each bullet that you shoot and hits the enemy team will get your meter back up and let you use your mecha as soon as possible again. She has the best mobility of any tank, which I really enjoy, because, you know, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm on Roadhog and I'm trying to get away, it's not really that easy. And I know tanks really shouldn't have to get away, because that defeats the whole purpose of a tank, but sometimes in Overwatch you just gotta get away, man. Lastly, she has very decent damage with being a tank and all, and I think if you're able to use your ult a few times in the game successfully, you'll be on top of the damage meter a couple times. And I really dislike one thing about D.Va, which is it can be really difficult to counter small, quick heroes like Lucio or Tracer. Not saying that Lucio's going to kill me or Tracer's going to kill me, but it can be hard if they're like, you know, spinning around you to really spin around and also hit them. The bullet damage can be weak sometimes when you're trying to spin around and shoot at the same time, so just keep that in mind. Alright guys, next up we have a couple of my least favorite heroes. First being Tracer. Mainly I feel like her HP is a little too low for me. I'm used to playing characters with over 200 HP, and I know it's just 50 HP difference, but it does make a difference, and sometimes I'll find myself dying when I should have used recall, and I know that's just a part of my gameplay and has nothing to do with the actual like baseline gameplay that a player who, you know, just jumped into the game is playing with. But I feel like she could probably use an extra 50 HP that'll give people some extra time to kind of, you know, realize, hey, you know, I'm about to die, let me use recall. I also feel like Blink can take some getting used to. You don't know how many times I've been playing Tracer, you know, and I'll just like blink into a crowd of enemies and I just get like destroyed. So you really got to be careful with Blink. You got to make sure you're not overusing it. You got to save it for the right time to get away as well. You know, you want to, with Tracer, you kind of want to be like a bee, you know, you want to sting once and then like fly away and then come back and sting again, even though I know bees die after one sting. I guess I meant a wasp, whatever. You got to really like pick your spots, run away, pick your spots again, run away. But even so, I've tried that and I just end up dying. And lastly, I feel like her ult ability needs to get the range increased. You know how many times I've dropped in her bomb and it just does not hit anyone, and it's just really frustrating. So yeah. Next up, we got Winston. Now, Winston, on paper, you would think that Winston would be a really great tank to play. It doesn't feel like that for me. Winston feels like he shouldn't be a tank at all. He's like in limbo between being a really bad tank and a really bad damage dealer. It just doesn't do it for me. His main weapon needs a range increase. His barrier needs a shorter cooldown. You know, even with those changes, I still feel like the hero needs to be reworked. It's just not doing it for me. Lastly, we got Mercy. Now, Mercy, I really hesitated to put her on this list because I sometimes can enjoy healing on Mercy when the game is casual, but if it's a competitive game, there's no way that I trust myself playing Mercy, just because her survivability is really questionable. You know, there's times where I'm playing her and I can live the entire game without dying, and then there's just times where like the enemy team is literally just targeting me, I'm getting stomped, there's no way of stopping someone from killing you, there's no incapacitate, you just gotta take it, and on top of that, your enemy team is nowhere to be found in line of sight and you just can't fly to them. So really, Mercy to me needs some sort of incapacitatability to be able to get away. Even if it's on a fairly long cooldown, like 10-15 seconds, I wouldn't mind that, because I understand that your healer can't just get away all the time. But I really feel like she needs something. Next up, I wanted to talk about Ana, the new hero. I really feel like she's very unique to this game and to shooters in general. You just don't see a whole lot of like, you know, healing with a sniper rifle, like what? But I do think she still needs to be worked on a little bit. There are some concerns with her, such as survivability. If she had a little bit more mobility, like a Widowmaker or Hanzo, to maybe get up on stuff, it would really make her a viable sniper, not just like a desperation healer like people have been using her. But overall, I really think that she's very unique, and Blizzard can really make something great with her if they just keep working on it. Alright, lastly, I want to talk about something really important, which is competitive mode. Now, I will cut Blizzard some slack on this topic because it is a brand new game. It just came out, less than 3 months ago, and competitive hasn't even been out like 2 months. So I do think that they deserve some credit because they did do a really good job with the game in general. Now, competitive mode, it's a little questionable why they chose some of the routes that they went, such as the 0 to 100 percentage based competitive ranking system. It definitely needs to be reworked. A lot of people have complained that the game does not reward in proportion to what it punishes as far as losses and wins. So, like, for example, you'll win a match and you'll gain about like 2 bars of experience, or not experience, I'm sorry. You'll gain about 2 bars of ranked juice, whatever it's called. You'll gain about 2 bars of that, and then you'll turn around and you'll lose, and you won't be an underdog, and there aren't underdogs either. You'll just lose, and then you'll end up losing 3 bars, and the reason is unapparent. So I've heard a lot of complaints about that. It's not in proportion. You lose more than you win. There's a lot of issues with solo queuing. You'll solo queue into a really volatile and toxic team, which does not help morale. And then a lot of us tend to get really upset, and then we'll queue for another game because we just lost a whole rank point. How could we do that? And then we'll rank down again, and then it's just like an avalanche. And the more and more you lose, the more and more you want to just keep playing, and then it ends up being a vicious cycle. Not that they can really do much about that. That's all dependent on the gamer themselves. But I really feel like a lot can be done to improve the ranking system so that it doesn't feel like you're being punished so much when you lose. And as far as like rewards for competitive mode, I feel like they're lacking. Something about the golden weapons just doesn't really do it for me. There needs to be some sort of other rewarding system than that, because I've been playing a lot and I'm nowhere near the golden weapon yet. So that just needs to be kept in mind. Other than that, I really feel like competitive in practice is pretty good, but it definitely needs to be worked on in the future. Alright guys, that was it for this video. I'm sure you can tell by my tone throughout the whole video that I really enjoy this game. I'm excited to see where Blizzard's taking it in the future. I'm hoping for some new and unique heroes, maybe some new skins perhaps. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions or if you agree with me, make sure to leave a comment below. See ya.
They say it's just a sign of the times, but I'm sure the old folk are sick of hearing that.